Hello, everybody. My book about stroke recovery tells the story of 10 stroke survivors and the steps that they took that got them to the stage in their recovery where, from a personal growth perspective, stroke transformed into one of those life experiences that, on reflection, was filled with many opportunities for growth and personal transformation. In the book, there are chapters on nutrition, sleep, exercise, how to deal with the emotional side of stroke, tips and tools for mental well-being, and much, much more. To find out more and to get your copy, go to recoveryafterstroke.com/book. This is episode 296, and my guest today is on the road to recovery after a brain AVM bled into her brain when she was aged just 29. Monica Azevedo, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell me a little bit about what happened to you.
Yeah. So, uh, long story short, I had a stroke on February 2nd of last year, 2023. Uh, and it changed my life. Um, but I'm doing a lot better now, but I'm still recovering. So, um, essentially, um, I had a, I have a, or I had a hemorrhage stroke where I had a bleed in my brain, and we found out it was because of an AVM in the brain that ruptured. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure how much,
That's all
like
right.
how far back and how many details. So yeah, just kind of let me know.
Let me guide you. Don't worry about it. So you have a AVM, you find out the first time when it bleeds. Did you have,
Yeah.
looking back now, did you have any symptoms, any idea that maybe there was something not up, not right, something a bit weird about your head? Did you get strange headaches before? Did you have any inkling whatsoever that something was a little bit off?
Not at all. Complete shock. And it's funny because I've had a couple of concussions in high school, um, and that didn't do anything, or at least, let me know that I had potentially this AVM in my brain. So I consider myself lucky because all the symptoms were fairly, quick, and I got help fairly quickly as well. So I was working a lot, and I had just finished my shift. It was a Thursday, and I left work. I went to grab my car, and I pulled up in front of the office to unload. My boss and I were unloading um, my car because we just had done a trade show for the company. And I said goodbye and hopped into my car. As soon as I pulled out and started driving, um, I got this sudden headache, very sharp pain at the very front of my head. And I was like, whoa, like kind of taken back. It was like this kind of came out of nowhere. Um, and then within seconds, my vision becomes blurry. And I figured, okay, this isn't good. So I think to myself, pull over immediately. I put all my hazard lights on. I put my car in park, and funny enough, um, I'm from Toronto, and there's billboards up around, and I remember always reading this one that had the acronym FAST. I think it's like if your face is drooping, a I think yeah, your arms, and S for speech, and then time to call. So I instantly thought to myself, can you raise your arms? And I couldn't even like raise my arms more than halfway. So I knew something like I needed help. So the first thing I did was think I'm going to call my boss because he's probably the one person who can get to me the quickest and figure out what's going on. I call him. I said, "Hey, I'm not feeling good. Please come get me." Within it, and then from here on out, this is what I've been told because as soon as I called him, he said he was coming. I black out. And then I remember coming to again for a second, and I see him in my vehicle calling, I guess, 911, and then black out again. And I don't remember anything for 2 weeks. I was in ICU. They found out that I had a bleed in the brain almost immediately. And uh, yeah, I had a breathing tube. Um, and yeah, apparently I had thrown up all over myself when this first had happened. And yeah, I was rushed to the hospital. So I'm very, very grateful that he was there to jump in and call 911 for me. Because again, like the symptoms were so sudden and so powerful. Um, and it happened so fast. I barely had time to react.
Yeah. You're you've got sort of this 2 week period of time where everything's lost. I imagine you would have been in some kind of an induced coma. They would have been trying to stabilize the bleed, trying to sort it out, etc. Did you have family notified? Was anyone by your side during that time? Do you remember who was there when you woke up?
Yeah, so my boss said his name is Jamie. Let's call him Jamie. And he he called, I believe, my parents and one of my girlfriends. And it was the two numbers he had, I think. And I'm not sure. Maybe he called my partner, but he called who he could. Um, and so my one of my good friends, Tara, she was the first one to get to the hospital and see me. And she thought, okay, wow, this is a little bit more serious than I thought. She told my parents, like, no, like you need to come to the hospital. So all of my close girlfriends, my parents, my brother, bless their hearts. I have a great support team, and they're all there. And yeah, I guess it's still not clear to me exactly what had happened. Um,
Hmm.
During like when I was in ICU, but
Are they all living locally? Are they all near you?
yeah, yeah, they are.
And it's been 12 months. The anniversary of this time has just passed, right? So, in that 12 months, what did you have to overcome? What deficits did you wake up with after the surgery? Oh, sorry, after the hospitalization.
Yeah, so I had like a tube out of my head, basically. So we ended up putting a shunt in because during my hospital stay, I was at the hospital for about 3.5 weeks in total. And then I moved into a rehab center, um, which helped a lot. But during my hospital stay, um, yeah, I guess they were trying to drain or let my body drain the fluid out of my brain on its own, but I couldn't. And whenever they, I guess, tried to let me do it on my own, like those were times apparently I kind of recall some of them, and some of them I don't, but like I would talk crazy. Like I was not making sense. The stories I hear from my family and friends is pretty funny, scary, but funny, now that I look back at it. Um,
Did you have problems with
but
walking or using any side of your body or anything like that?
So my right side of my body was quite numb, tingling, hard to use. I had to basically learn how to walk again. I used one of those Rolade walkers, and I had like my shoulders up to my ears. I was so frigid. I had so it affected my left eye. So I have what you call a strabismus or lazy eye, and it also affected the pupil. So um, the brain is amazing, but at first it was like I had double vision. I am like I can't see anything, everything's messy, and then I just kind of adapt because essentially what the brain's trying to do is create, like, there's two images and they're really trying to blend those images together so it's just one, right? So definitely I can see a lot better, but I had to adapt. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to kind of gain strength on my right side. So physiotherapy was a big help in the rehab.
Mm. How are you functioning verbally and how's your thinking? Now, my assumption is I've never met you before, so I'm assuming that everything is the way it's always been. But are you feeling any difficulty with developing thoughts, finishing sentences, starting a conversation? Do you have any of those dramas, things that are different than the way that you used to communicate before?
In the beginning, it was fairly difficult. I was kind of lost for words, but I've improved quite a lot. I have a little trouble with short-term memory, but I'm trying to work on my vocabulary again. I'm trying to um, talk more, read more, do like challenge myself. So I've seen a couple of speech therapists, and luckily, that hasn't been the case for me. I haven't had a deficit in that regard.
And how about your energy levels? What about the way that you feel through the day, how energetic you can be, how many things you can get done? How is that these days?
A lot better now. A lot better now. So, something that I struggled a lot mentally. My mental health was I was in a dark place for sure, and physically, now I gained 40 pounds and within 6 months. I had to shave my head. So um because they shaved like half of my head for the shunt and this drain they put in. So I had a little bit of an identity crisis because I didn't recognize who I was in the mirror. Like I've gained weight, my eyes weird. To me, I've shaved my head. Um, and I forgot the original question. I don't know where I'm going with this, but
Yeah, that's all right. It
um,
was about it was about like how else you've been impacted and you've answered the question beautifully, so it's all fine. I
okay, yes, yes.
I was going to say about your mental health. So were you somebody that perhaps had mental health challenges in the past? For example, major or minor. You don't have to talk about any of this stuff if you're not comfortable. Major or minor in that, did you have maybe anxiety or anything like that? Or was this all new, all onset after your brain injury, after this traumatic injury?
I've always dealt with anxiety, so that wasn't, new for me. But yeah, a lot of it was new to me, I guess. I guess uh, like I've never, experienced depression the way that I did um last year. When I think back, I get emotional sometimes because I think I've come so far. I'm doing so well, uh, considering I had a stroke a year ago, and I'm damn proud of myself. But
Mhm.
um, it was hard.
If you've had a stroke and you're in recovery, you'll know what a scary and confusing time it can be. You're likely to have a lot of questions going through your mind. Like, how long will it take to recover? Will I actually recover? What things should I avoid in case I make matters worse? Doctors will explain things, but obviously you've never had a stroke before. You probably don't know what questions to ask. If this is you, you may be missing out on doing things that could help speed up your recovery. If you're finding yourself in that situation, stop worrying and head to recoveryafterstroke.com, where you can download a guide that will help you. It's called 7 Questions to Ask Your Doctor About Your Stroke. These 7 questions are the ones Bill wished he'd asked when he was recovering from a stroke. They'll not only help you better understand your condition, they'll help you take a more active role in your recovery. Head to the website now, recoveryafterstroke.com, and download the guide. It's free.
Too is really hard. And I think mentally is where I had the biggest challenge because physically I couldn't do the things I wanted to do and whatnot.
Yeah, physically is where the effort goes. People see that immediately. They see you can't walk, and they put you into therapy, and you're supposed to improve all your walking. And I think it's a really important part of recovery, obviously. And then if you can regain some of your movement, that might support your mental health a little bit, your emotional health. But then the emotional health and the mental health still require a lot of time and effort as well, just like the physical recovery. But very rarely does a medical professional say, "Oh, you should go into 6 months of counseling or 6 months of therapy." They don't really do that unless somebody is proactive, says that to you, and then you have the idea that maybe psychological counseling, emotional counseling is something that you need to do, right? But a lot of stroke survivors don't go down that path. They don't think about it because they also look at the physical side of it, and then they go, well, if only I could walk, or if only I could use my arm, and then they put all their energy and focus into that, which is makes sense. It's logical. But strokes are three-pronged recovery. You can't just recover the physical and not pay attention to the emotional, and then not pay attention to the mental, because your thinking gets clouded. I know for me, it got clouded. I'm thinking thoughts that I'd never thought before, which on reflection, it all makes complete sense. It's logical that somebody who was perfectly healthy for 37 years and now seems not to be and doesn't know what the future holds is going to have new thoughts about life and new thoughts about the world and new thoughts about work and the family and what it means to be uh, alive and all that stuff. So it's pretty standard and obvious that you might initially, after the stroke, have depressive type of thoughts and feel a sense of doom and gloom and then get depressed, right? It's pretty logical because something bad has happened. The thing about it is to help you get through that is to observe it and to try and understand why you're thinking those thoughts and to come to terms with the fact that you're thinking them and that it's okay that you're thinking of them, and under the circumstances is understandable that you might be thinking of them. And then it's about how do you try and transform those thoughts and get a little bit of what is it? I would say a little bit of control back, because I felt out of control when it happened to me. Everybody else was in control of my life. The doctors, uh, the bleed was in control of my life. I don't know, maybe God was in control of it. I had no idea. what was happening. I was just along for the ride. But then I start making some small decisions and take back a little bit of that control where I can. And it's usually in areas like what I'm going to address. Like, what is it that I'm going to address? Like, oh, okay, I'm going to address my mental health. I am going to go see a counselor. Oh, I am going to address my emotional problem where I'm crying all the time and I don't know why. And then it's like, I had also put on weight. I said, okay, I'm going to address my weight issue. I'm going to stop consuming sodas or stop consuming sugar, for example. And then as you do that, even though there's other things that are out of your control, what happens is you take a little bit of control and then you start to feel better about the fact that you're playing an active role in keeping yourself healthier and
Yeah.
avoiding another incident. But of course, I know that with AVMs, often the situation doesn't just resolve when you get sent home. The AVM is still there often if they haven't operated immediately. So for me, it was there for 3 years almost after the first bleed, and it bled 3 times in total, and then we had surgery. So the first year, I was in the kind of feeling better mode, things are getting better, but there's still this unresolved matter.
Yep.
Are
Yep.
you, what situation are you in with your AVM?
Yeah. So I still have my AVM, which kind of scares me a little bit because there's always that risk factor, right? That a potential re-rupture. So yeah, apparently it's inoperable because of it's located at the back of the brain, but like the way they describe it, it's almost in the center of the brain because it's very deep inside. It would be difficult for them to operate. So we did the gamma knife radiation treatment. That was an experience. Um, and that was done about 9 months ago. I have my MRI at the end of this month, finally, to see how she's doing. I call it Felicia because it's like, bye, Felicia. Like, you're not welcome here anymore. Like, please go.
Cool.
um, so
Humor is important. Humor is so important.
yeah, yeah. So to try to keep things light, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm hoping for good news.
Okay. So a friend of mine, who I went to school with, who I harassed for his entire life. I've known him for 44 years. Uh,
Cool.
he went to school with me. I did the best I could to keep him out of studying, to keep him out of doing well, to get him to be an idiot like me as much as possible, you know. And
Aw.
he went to university and I didn't because university wasn't for me. I had learnt everything by the time I was in year 9 or something like that. So he went to university and became a radiographer. And the type of guy who, when you go to a hospital and get a scan of your head, he's the type of guy that does those scans. So when I was unwell, he was at the hospital that I was going to, and he was the guy that was scanning my head, and he would
No way.
see me at every appointment. And I've known this guy my entire life. We've kept in touch like since school finished, a whole lot, right? And we went through this together, and he would speak to my wife and he would reassure us. But for 3 years, you know, he was on the case for me. And then he was the person who introduced me to my neurosurgeon who eventually did the operation. And then he was there when I was recovering. He was all over the place. Like he was just amazing to have around. It was awesome. And then I think 12 months ago, roughly about 12 months ago, similar time to you, his daughter had a AVM. She's 17 years old, bled in the brain. Really difficult spot to get to. They're draining the fluid. I go and visit him. I'm in the ICU with him. She's on ventilators, the whole lot. And now she's up and about, and she has some left side deficits that are kind of still impacting her, but it was touch and go, just like you. And she had the gamma knife uh, surgery as well, the procedure. And what I understood that the gamma knife does is that it kind of zaps that area where the AVM exists, and it alters the DNA of the AVM. And the whole purpose of it is once it alters the DNA, it kind of stops it from working properly and it shrivels it up. And then Felicia is no more.
Yes.
And that's the time that they're in now. They're also in that waiting zone. They're waiting for the next MRI to have a look and see what happens, and hopefully the results are in their favor, and then they move on and they go to the next stage. But it's a difficult
Yeah.
time for everybody who's had an AVM to go through that. And I appreciate what you're going through. It's just so ridiculously crazy that I had to go through what I went through. My friend had to help me. His daughter had to go through that. And now together we're going through this. And we can totally empathize with people who have had a stroke, be it from a brain injury, be it from an AVM, be it from a blood clot. It's it's a lot of waiting around and being patient. I imagine that it's not something that you'd practiced too much before, being this patient about something that you're that sort of motivated to get the right outcome for. How is that new experience to deal with that? How do you stay calm and relaxed and chilled the way you are? Because you appear very level-headed. You know, you've contacted me to be on the show. You're presenting yourself really calm and calculated. Are you? Is it a facade? Because people listening who are going through what we've been through will be curious. Like, are you just are you not human? How do you do that? How do you live with that?
I, I am cool, calm, and collected.
Good.
I'm kind of an introvert, but I know how to turn it on if I have to. Um, yeah, I've just always kind of been like the quiet, um, more reserved and observe the situation type of gal. And yeah, it's training yourself um to have more of a positive self-talk as well, right? um it's so easy for me and for I'm sure anybody to kind of look at themselves and easily say, oh, I don't like my hair today, or oh, I don't like this outfit on me, or whatever it is, right? But yet it's not easy for us to tell ourselves, I am, I'm smart, I'm courageous, I'm creative, and the list goes on, right? So I just try to practice gratitude. I try to say daily affirmations. So sometimes it'll be different every week. And yeah, and I just kind of say it to myself. I've also journaled too. I think that's helped quite a bit with processing this, but patience, it's something that I've had to learn. And I think, I know like I think the title of your book is like, it stroke was the best thing that's ever happened to me, something along those lines. And it's interesting to say that only now I can say that, yeah, I think I can agree because I've quit some really poor habits that weren't serving me anymore. I have more confidence in myself now, and I really truly see how short life can ultimately be, and I want to enjoy it, and I don't want to be miserable. I want to be happy and not allow things to bother me as much as they once had. before.
Yeah, I love that. See, that's the thing about my book title. It's unexpected. It caught me off guard, by surprise, as if the worst thing that ever happened to me could become the best thing that ever happened to me. Let's face it. Now, I know people will say that some things are way worse than stroke that they've had happen to them, and therefore stroke doesn't even rate a mention. So it just depends on your life and what your experiences have been so far and all that type of thing. And it just depends on how, well, I considered myself pretty dumb before stroke. And I say that in the most caring and loving possible way because I was not wise to the world. I had a way of doing things that was, in my mind, the only way of doing things. And it was so not aligned to my way of being. It was just like somebody else's rules. I was implementing somebody else's strategies and things, and I was getting a lot of pushback, and I didn't like it, and it was really difficult to be myself. And then I've had this stroke, and then it stops and pauses everything, and I've got to change everything because I'm a completely different version of myself, and I need new tools. So I go and seek them out, and I find tools that serve me and are not difficult to implement and are really enjoyable to do. And I get a lot back from them, like gratitude and like public speaking and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm like, I never would have discovered this stuff if it wasn't for all this health scare that I experience and all the challenges that I'm facing and I have to overcome. So
Yeah.
it's growth. Growth has happened. It had to get to this dark place. It had to get to like rock bottom. But then it was just growth because I knew that I didn't want to get to rock bottom ever again, which meant that I couldn't go about life the way I was going about life before. You just if I did that, that gets me the wrong outcome, and I'm not particularly happy with that outcome. And now that I've had a taste of this new version, even though I'm living with deficits, even though my left side has been in pain for about 3 or 4 days now, even though it's bugging me and I'm noticing it more and my balance is off. I have a podcast. I've met all these people. I'm doing a book launch in a few weeks. Um,
Good for you.
do you know? It's like, how can it not be the best thing that happened to me? And
Yeah, yeah.
I expect people will not be at that stage yet. And I get it. I'm perfectly comfortable with that. What I'm doing is trying to say to you, like, if stroke's the worst thing that happened to you, how can you, despite of that, transform it, regardless of how bad your deficits are, regardless of how bad your vision is, your memory is, all that kind of stuff? How can you transform it into something that enables you to experience a part of life you had never experienced before? That's amazing. Or like you nearly died. So pretend you're already dead. Like, fuck it. Like, and just go for it and do something that the old you who was supposedly alive never would have done.
Amen. Yep. 100%. Yeah. Because within, it's kind of strange to say that, you almost didn't make it, because to me, I'm thinking like, I'm here. What do you mean? And I didn't make
Yeah.
it. But it's true. If I hadn't gotten the help right away, like who knows what the outcome would have been if, I say I have I had a guardian angel watching me, because everything almost fell in place almost too perfectly to help my situation. It was going to happen regardless, but like again, my symptoms happened quick and spontaneously, and I didn't have a moment to react, right? Where some people I know, it starts during in the morning and then they go throughout the whole day, and they maybe been having these mini strokes throughout the day, and they weren't even aware of it, and it caused so much damage. And again, depending where the AVM is located on the brain, it affects different parts of your body. It's just, there's so much depth to all of this, and everyone's experience is not like any other. I try to seek out, has anyone else had their eye affected from stroke, or AVM or what have you. And I find it so difficult to find anyone else who had an issue with their eye specifically. I've had people I could relate with the shunt and some parts of my experience, but
Well, on my Instagram page, there's a ton of people that have had that. I've made posts specifically about vision and people have responded.
yeah.
So if you go to there and you scroll through and you see the
Okay.
posts that are about vision, you'll see there are people there. And anyway, if you wanted me to, I could ask, and I can let the people following on Instagram know that Monica wants to connect with some people who have had vision problems after a stroke. Would you guys be willing to connect? And let me tell you, there's going to be a few.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love that. I would love to connect with anyone else who, yeah, because I feel like that's kind of like the missing piece a little bit. Because I haven't come across anyone who talked about their eye being affected. And
How much?
I was sorry.
I was just going to say, how much does it bug you that your eye is affected in that way? What does it stop you from doing, or what does it do to you
Now
psychologically?
it doesn't stop me from doing anything, so that's great. It's been an adjustment. Um, it caused a lot of headaches, balance issues, almost not knowing where you are in space. Almost
Mm,
it's just a weird experience. And confidence wise, just looking at my reflection in a mirror and not seeing my eyes, being the way they used to be. And yeah, so I was supposed to have a eye surgery, strabismus surgery. So it's been going to help kind of align my eyes again. So the um physical part of it will be fixed, but the vit again, because my pupil was affected. I don't know if it's gonna fix the vision aspect, but we'll see. I have it rescheduled for next month. So I have a lot of things coming up, right? Like the MRI, an eye surgery, um, and we'll see what the next steps are for me.
do you need to go and grab some tissues? Do you need to get some water?
Uh,
You seem like,
no,
are you all right?
I'm
Are your
I'm
eyes
good.
a little bit runny?
Yeah, I get emotional easily, so
Okay.
I'll tear up here and there.
Yeah, I understand. I've been there. Um, most people listening have been there. Uh, so have you been to a neuro ophthalmologist, or are you going to just a regular eye doctor? A neuro ophthalmologist usually deals with eye challenges related to neurological issues. Who have you been seeing for your eye? What kind of a
Yeah, so
technician?
I saw a couple of ophthalmologists, and this specific ophthalmologist is focuses on strabismus. So a lot of his patients are typically children, but he said he's had a few adults in his career, and it was due to like a neurological issue.
Mm.
So yeah, he's confident that he can help me, and because I made it very clear that I don't want to go into this surgery if you don't think there's going to be a significant difference or improvement. Because I think I've adapted to what it is now, and I'm not, ha- happy, but I can deal with it. Like the headaches, the daily headaches are gone. My balance is great. I'm back to the gym. I'm doing all the things that I love doing again. So if it's not going to improve what I'm at right now, like this is the baseline. I'm not going backwards. I'm going forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. Uh, 12 months just passed. Is that first 12-month, was it anniversary, was it a celebration? Was it a time of reflection? Did you either even sort of, did it enter your mind? How did you
Oh,
go through that?
yeah. Yeah. The 1 year anniversary was definitely on my mind. I did reflect, and um, it was very emotional. And my girlfriend, had us over for dinner. We had a little dinner together and kind of celebrated, recovery for the last year. And yeah, it was a special day, and I just want to kind of create new and better memories for that day. Because, and mind you, before this stroke, February 2nd never meant anything to me. Okay. Now I'm like, well, kind of means something, right? So you kind of make it what it is at the end of the day, right?
It's so
So
weird that we do that. I mean, if a calendar didn't exist, we wouldn't have a clue that a year had passed exactly,
yeah.
that it was that day, which is so strange. I think we've been trained to uh, mark anniversaries for some reason, like whether it's, wedding or getting together anniversaries, or whether it's birthday anniversaries, or whether it's the anniversary of somebody passing or whatever. And, we've been trained to remember that this day 12 months ago this thing happened, and like we now have to remember it for some reason and do something about it. And I feel a bit weird about marking anniversaries, but I still do in a positive way. Like you, I'm trying to bring uh like a positive spin on it and say, well, if I am going to mark the 12-month anniversary, I'm going to mark it and say, look how far I've come, or this is what I've learned, or this is how
Yeah.
I've grown, or this is how I'm better or different or whatever, rather than re-traumatizing myself with what happened on that day, and then it being something that I have to uh, get over again and overcome, and you know I
Yeah.
don't know.
Whole process, right?
Yeah, yeah. I do. I do wonder why it is that humans have to mark
it's
anniversaries.
it's yeah, it's interesting, because you can't expect everyone to remember, this day this happened to me, and why
And
do
why
we do
12
it?
months? And why 12 months and not 13
And
or 11?
yeah, 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 because again, it's the calendar year, right? The
Yeah.
calendar year is for 12 months. Yeah, I guess it's something to, you can have a great debate on, because why celebrate your birthday every year, right? It's because you get older, right? But it's I think of it in a positive way. You know what? It's a way to celebrate, create new memories, and if you want to celebrate the damn thing, go ahead.
Mm, mm.
And if you don't, you don't. It's your choice at the end of the day.
Yeah. I love what your friend did for you. That's a really lovely thing to do, to sort of bring you guys together and make you feel cared for and looked after and thought of. And
Yeah, yeah. I have very special friends. They're very, very close and dear to my heart. I've known them forever, basically. And my partner and my parents and my family, just everyone who is close to me has been so supportive and so amazing. And I truly, um, recognize that friends and family are so important. And anytime that I have, you know, again, because I'm an introvert, I liked some alone time because that's how I recharge my batteries. But otherwise, my free time's being spent with my friends, my family, my career that I'm trying to build. Yeah.
Tell me about your career. What are you trying to build?
Uh, I don't know if I want to go into it in depth, but
No,
I've
you
been
don't have to.
working for this company, and they've been so supportive during this entire journey. Because when the stroke happened, I wasn't working for a little bit there,
Mm,
but you know, they were like, nope, we understand, we see what's going on, come back when you're ready. And I came back on a part-time basis to kind of, ease my way back into it. I did that in August, so 6 months after. And then I like slowly worked my way back to full time. And it's nice to to have a sense of routine back again,
mm.
and wake up. Before I would wake up for work and I'd be like, oh, I hate this, I was so miserable. But now I'm like, oh, I get to wake up and I get to go to work, and then I get to go to the gym after and do all these other things, and make the best of it. Some days are harder than others, but um, that's it's definitely changed my perspective on a lot of things.
Yeah. You were like every other normal person who hates waking up in the morning and going to damn work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're waking up miserable going to work, then maybe you need to change your career too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That was me. I mean, going to work miserable. I was my own boss. I was creating my own pain and suffering because I was, like I said, I was quite thick and dumb about the way I went about things. And I remember whinging and moaning about how hard it was to be me and to run my business and to get the guys to do what I needed them to do. And my customers, needed me to be there all the time. And if they didn't see me, they wouldn't want to work with me. And it was just all these bullshit stories that I created in my head about why I couldn't grow my business and why I couldn't do this and why I couldn't do that. My office, I didn't have one. I was working from home. And who would have known that, 12 years later, working from home is the thing to do. Um,
Right.
and I was just so oblivious to the fact that I was working from home, but it was working. I thought that I needed to work from some other location to make it work better or some ridiculous thing. And then, um, and then I found myself working from my hospital bed. So it was the first time I was in hospital for 7 days. I've got the laptop, I've got a photo of it, the laptop on the food tray that they bring out.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sending quotes, sending invoices, receiving money, um, emailing my clients. My guys are going to work. They're doing the work the way that they need to do it. The clients are happy. The clients are paying. Everyone steps up. It's like, what just happened? I went literally from 1 week before where everything was a problem. I was whinging to my wife about it. Everything was so hard um, because the business was prosperous and working well and we were making money and I was busy. What I wasn't doing was delegating, putting new people on and taking some of the pressure off me. I was just taking it all on board.
Yeah.
And then here I am literally a week later with a brain injury and I'm working from my hospital bed. It just blew all of my preconceived ideas and all of my thoughts about what success looks like, it just blew it out of the water. And it was the most obvious thing. It hit me harder than the stroke hit me, than the bleed in the brain hit me when I was in hospital, probably day 3 or 4 with my laptop and working away. I just couldn't believe it. And that was what sort of started this whole turn for the better, this growth, this opportunity to sort of see things differently, to reach out to new people, to learn new skills, new ways of thinking, new ways of applying myself. It was just, it's just crazy that's how I got there, right? So my career
Yeah.
became something that I got to do, and I got to be at work, and I got to meet new clients, and I got to find new ways to solve problems. And then gratitude kicks in, and it's like, wow, look at me. Like, this is so cool. And I can relate with what you're saying a lot.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, it seems like you're doing great. You know, after having, you know, the AVM ruptured 3 times and then have to go through surgery, and I couldn't imagine what that is like. Um, you know, once is enough. Like
It is, but
I
it was easier, Monica. The reason why it was easier was because I had learnt the lesson really quickly early on. And as I was healing and getting better, the next time it bled, what I had to do was overcome my illness, my brain issues, with the blood in there and all the stuff that was happening in there. Once I overcame that again, and sort of started to get healthier and get better, those lessons were still there, and I was able to capitalize on them again. So the second time I
yeah,
capitalized on them again, and then the third time it was like, okay, I've had 18 months, nearly, I had nearly, I think it was 2.5 years by then of uh, two bleeds recovery, and then bleed, and then brain surgery. But I had 2.5 years of putting new things into place, new strategies, new procedures, new ways of living my life. So it was kind of easier because I had the new tools already developed,
yeah, yeah.
and that
That
was what
makes
was
sense.
good about it. But
Yeah, I'm sure that helped a lot because it still doesn't make it
no, no,
easy.
no, it's a bloody setback. Your brain bled again, and now you have to have brain surgery. Now you have to learn how to walk. It's a setback, and it takes a long time. And that's one of the things I'm trying to demonstrate here is I don't want to gloss over the fact that it took me more than 7 years to get back to full-time work,
Okay.
right? Long time. And in that time, there was a lot of setbacks, a lot of setbacks. And I had thyroid surgery in that time as well. So 18 months after my brain surgery, I had to have thyroid surgery because I had a really massive growth on one of my thyroid glands. So half of
Mhm.
it's gone. And then the adjustment that does to your body, and the hormones, and your
Yeah.
recovery from that. And then, it just,
Like let's, you know, yeah, because the AVM is not the only thing, right? For most people, like I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, I think in 2019. And that was, you know, the symptoms I had, it affected my foot and my knees. And I couldn't walk at one time because it was so inflamed. We had to drain out fluid and to find out which biologics work the best for my body. And so there's, you know, of course you're dealing with, you know, you're dealing with recovery after stroke and this AVM that, you know, may or may not be still existing in your body. And then you have other health issues to just put on top of that, right? So it's just it can be a lot. Um but it definitely does change again like your perspective,
mm.
and it provides you tools to better deal with those situations when they come.
Do you feel like you're more resilient than you were? Have you always been resilient? How has your resilience level changed, or the depth of it? How has it sort of developed?
Yeah, I think I've it's definitely changed since the stroke, to be honest. I was kind of um, carefree, but didn't really think about some of my actions, I guess. I don't know. I'm just far more grateful and um just truly see the value of life, and I just want to enjoy it while I'm here.
Mm, that's profound. That's pretty cool.
That's it, man. Like that's all I can ask for. And I mean, there's like this quote that says, when you die, people are gonna forget after 6 months, and then after a year, like no one mentions your name, and what's left of you that people are going to remember. It's going to be the memories that they have with you. So create those fun, amazing memories with the people that you care about, and forget everything else. Like forget other opinions. Like everyone has one, right? Just like yeah, I'm
Assholes, just like
yeah,
assholes.
exactly. I'm like, I don't know if I can swear or
A
not.
little, a little.
But yeah, it's definitely been a roller coaster, but um definitely I feel like I've become stronger and more resilient, and um just trying to do my best here.
That's it. That's it. Why not? What has been the hardest thing about stroke?
I guess change in general.
Mm.
Change is uncomfortable. And I've never been a big fan of change. So I think that's been the hardest, just having to deal with changes
Thrust
constantly.
upon you, change thrust upon you. What is it about change that you're not comfortable with? Is it just because of your personality, or is it just because, you like the status quo? What is it with change? Because I feel like uh, I was similar and now I'm not. Like, I don't mind things changing on me now and being different all the time. What do you think
Yeah.
was the difficult thing about change for you?
Um, I think some of the changes that I didn't expect, really. Like I didn't expect to have to shave my head. I had really long, beautiful blonde hair, and and then I had to shave my head. And I was like, oh, that's not a change I was expecting. That wasn't something I wanted to do, but I like it made the most sense. I think it has a lot to do with my because I know change is inevitable and change is good. That's how we grow. And I understand that now, right? But um, it's still uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah, you kind of want it to be a little bit on your terms.
Yes,
Get time to deal with the decision that you're going to make, for example, and understand how you could you could sort of be in charge of the change that it's occurring rather than it thrust upon you. It's like resigning from a job rather than somebody sacking you. It's a similar outcome. Both of you end up without a job, but one of them is a decision that you've become comfortable with and you implement, and the other one, someone just sort of pulls the
the
rug
rug
from,
out under your feet.
yeah, and just says, hey, you're out of here. And it's like, oh,
Yeah,
hang on a sec.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, what has stroke taught you?
Um, it's taught me to not take things for granted, and just really live life for yourself and not for anyone else. Don't hesitate. Just do it. Just um yeah.
Do you reckon you were living your life if not for somebody else, but through the filter of somebody else. I felt like I was doing that. As you know, people had told me how I was supposed to approach my work, like how I was supposed to deal with my family, what was going to come next. When you get to that stage, this is what you do and this is how you do it. And, you know, I did
Mm-hmm.
everything they told me to do. It never
Mm-hmm.
resonated with me much. And then I found myself doing things I didn't like doing. And then I stopped doing those things after all of my health challenges. Like, how were you living your life? Do you feel like it was designed and through somebody else's filter?
Uh, to a degree, yes. I think also I was just very like not scared, but I, it took me a lot to take the next step forward. You know, I would hesitate a lot, and I didn't see my self-worth a lot of the times. And I would just keep everything the way it was because, you know, I didn't want to disturb anyone or anything. Um, and now I'm like, screw that. Like I'm gonna do what I want, you know, like there's a degree of everything, right? You're not just gonna do as you please because of course your actions can affect other people or things around you. But in general, I just feel like I do things for myself and I'm proud of that.
Yeah, good. How long have you been with your partner?
Uh, it's going to be almost 2 years. So it I've known him for quite some time, but when this all happened, you know, we haven't even been together for a year, and we live kind of far apart. So when he found out, he out of everyone, they live very close, but he doesn't. But he dropped everything and came uh, to Toronto and stayed with me by my side during the entire process. It's definitely posed some challenges on our relationship. Um, but man, we're in a great place right now, and I'm so happy and glad to have him. And I'm sure he is just as happy and lucky to have me in his
You better
life.
be.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
uh,
it's
yeah, I
it's
asked
been
about him because of that. I had a sense that, you know, change, all these things do impact relationships. And I don't know whether
hmm,
they have to impact them for the better or the worse. It doesn't matter. But I know that there's definitely an impact because then, you know, this person's dealing with all the things that you're dealing with, plus the way that he's also processing what's happening in his world because his world has had this upheaval as well. And maybe he's
yep.
thinking about things he never thought about before, you know, mortality and ill health and all the stuff, you know. So I know that I challenged my wife a lot because I was a completely different version of myself after the stroke and still am. Um, you would recognize my personality and all that stuff. That's all kind of the same, but
Mhm.
the way I think, the way I talk, the way I implement things is completely different. And I became a little bit
Yeah.
of a preacher after stroke, and I busted everyone's chops for quite a while with, well, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. And it was, oh, you know, I was probably terrible to be around for a little while. Um, and now I'm kind of more calm about the way I pass on my knowledge to other people, I suppose, and what they should or shouldn't be doing. I engage in conversations if somebody asks me, but I tend not to
Yeah.
instigate the this is what you should do with your life from now on. Take it from the almighty Bill. That's kind of ended. So yeah, it's
That's, I've had the same approach too. I would give my 2 cents all the time, but no, it's like they didn't ask you.
mm,
So just take a step back, close your
yeah,
mouth a little bit, right? And if they ask you for your opinion and your thoughts, and then, you know, of course share.
mm.
But yeah,
And
I
that's what I
feel like
wanted
you're
to. that's what I wanted to demonstrate, is that you can still go about being your new version of yourself and living your new self and your new way about going about life and your new truth, whatever you want to call it. And you can do that without busting the chops of your partner and everybody around you. Because, I can't influence my wife to do anything that I feel like she should do unless she wants to do that. And then if she asks me, how do I go about that? I can tell her exactly how to go about something. But up until that time, you know, why should she stop consuming the foods that I can't eat anymore? Like, she doesn't have to if she doesn't want to. Uh,
Yeah.
Maybe she's not at that stage in her life and all that type of thing. And I used to just give my whole family a hard time about food, and all that type of stuff and what they should or shouldn't indulge in. And yeah, I've become like a like a cleaner eater and a more mindful eater and all that type of thing. And my family are still the way they've always been, and it's worked well for some of them because they're in their 80s, and some of them are in their 70s, and some of them are young, where it doesn't matter what you eat. Like, so they continue to be themselves and be them, and they're all generally healthy. I can't say that they are unhealthy and they are really terrible with their eating habits or any of that. None of them are like that. But I felt like I needed to improve everyone's eating habits and
Knowledge or
everyone's,
something.
yeah. It was a bit
Yeah. Because
strange.
food could be our poison
Mm,
or food can be our medicine,
yeah.
right? It's really, and this is something that I've been educating myself about a little bit more recently too. Um, because, you know, I, we all enjoy, highly palatable foods like
Mm,
chips and cookies and all those things, right? And when it comes to whole foods like vegetables and meat and what have you, it doesn't seem to be the top thing on people's minds. But basically, I think food can improve your mood. It can improve your physical health as well. It can help in so many different ways. And I think, yeah, if we just educate ourselves more, we can see that. And maybe it might not have an instant reaction or effect on you, but down the line, it could cause diabetes, it could cause heart failure or X, Y, and Z. So maybe right now it's not an issue, but maybe down the road it will be. So
yeah.
I'm sure that's a conversation for another day, but
It was. And that was the idea, is I wanted to, because I had experienced ill health, I wanted to avoid my family experiencing ill health. And I
yeah,
just, it became so urgent and I had to be obnoxious and rude about it, thinking that I was going to stop them
the
from
only way
getting
to
to
get
where I
them.
got. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was through that I was doing it right. Um, but yeah, food is really important after stroke. You need to avoid certain foods and you need to add certain foods into your diet because you can either get in the way of your recovery or you can support your recovery. And that's kind of where I was coming from. Well, thankfully, they're all doing well and they're all healthy. So, you know, I've settled down and I've just become an example in that. Not that I lead by example in my food. Like, I'm not an amazing. I don't eat amazingly, but we will go somewhere and I won't get sucked into the just have one routine. Like, I won't get sucked in the just have one glass of alcohol routine. I'm very comfortable saying, no, I don't drink. Like, there's no need for me to have one. You guys have one, and don't let me get don't let that bother you. And that was a conversation for a long time, but it's not anymore. Now people just know that I don't drink. And what, Bill, what are you having? Soda water. And they'll get me a soda
yeah.
water and the job's done.
I love soda
So
water.
yeah, it's all good. What there's people listening, going through what you and I have been through, still in their process, just happened to them. What's a little piece of advice, I suppose, that you would like to leave them with, or encouragement, or something positive that you'd like to leave them with about the journey that they're on?
Um, I don't want to get emotional because hmm, I don't know, just keep trying, man. Like it's you know, today might be your really hard day. Um, because I never thought I would be here, right now, being this confident in myself so soon. It was so far-fetched. So, my advice is, yeah, just don't give up, keep trying, and practice gratitude, practice positive self-talk. Write down daily affirmations, whatever you have to do to help that become a regular habit. It takes repetition to create habits. Um, and I think that's a habit to create is positive self-talk. It goes a long way.
Beautiful. On that note, thanks for reaching out and requesting to be on the podcast. I really appreciate the fact that you did that. And that you were, I'm going to use brave because I don't know which other word to use, that you were brave enough to get on 12 months out while still going through the challenges that AVMs pose and sharing your story in the hope that it help other people. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. I hope if you can, help maybe one person at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And my friend showed me your podcast shortly after I experienced my stroke, because I was so lost, and listening to your story and all of these guests, amazing people that you've had on your podcast. There's so many people that you can relate to and understand. And again, everyone's story is so different, right? But there's something to take away from each of them. And yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my story.
You're welcome. Now, for those people who are listening and who heard us chat about Monica wanting to connect with people regarding vision issues, I will have some links in the show notes where you can go and connect with Monica and maybe reach out. Or if you don't want to do that, you can just send me a email via recoveryafterstroke.com/contact via my contact form. And then I'll reach out to Monica and connect you guys if you want to chat. Most of my listeners are in the United States, so there'll be a better time difference between people in the United States and Canada, whereas uh, I'm in Australia. But still, then even though I am, we've still been able to connect at a reasonable hour for both of us. So thanks again for being on the podcast, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks, Phil. I wish you all the best as well. Thank you for having me.
Thanks again for joining us on today's episode. To get a copy of my book, go to recoveryafterstroke.com/book. To learn more about my guests, including links to their social media, and to download a transcript of the entire interview, go to recoveryafterstroke.com/episodes. Thank you to everyone who has already left a review. It means the world to me. Podcasts live and thrive because of reviews, and when you leave a review, you're helping others in need of this type of information to find it easier, and that is making a difference to their recovery. If you haven't left a review and would like to do one, please just go to Spotify, Amazon, or iTunes and leave a few words about what the show means to you. If you're watching on YouTube, comment below the videos. Some videos are starting to get more comments than they used to, which is fantastic. That means we're creating a conversation and we're creating a space for people to come and find more information rather than just the video. And also that creates a situation where YouTube makes that video available for more people like you and me to find it easier. If you're a stroke survivor with a story to share about your experience, come and join me on the show. You do not have to do anything to plan for them. All you need to do is be a stroke survivor who wants to share your story in the hope that it will help somebody else who's going through something similar. If you have a commercial product that you would like to promote that is related to supporting stroke survivors to recover, There is also a path for you to join me on the show for a sponsored episode. Go to recoveryafterstroke.contact, fill out the form explaining which category you belong to, and I will respond with more details about how we can connect via Zoom. Thanks again for being here and listening. I deeply appreciate you. See you on the next episode.
Importantly, we present many podcasts designed to give you an insight and understanding into the experiences of other individuals. Opinions and treatment protocols discussed during any podcast are the individual's own experience, and we do not necessarily share the same opinion, nor do we recommend any treatment protocol discussed. All content on this website and any linked blog, podcast, or video material controlled this website or content is created and produced for informational purposes only and is largely based on the personal experience of Bill Gasiamis. The content is intended to complement your medical treatment and support healing. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice and should not be relied on as health advice. The information is general and may not be suitable for your personal injuries, circumstances, or health objectives. Do not use our content as a standalone resource to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease for therapeutic purposes or as a substitute for the advice of a health professional. Never delay seeking advice or disregard the advice of a medical professional, your doctor, or your rehabilitation program based on our content. If you have any questions or concerns about your health or medical condition, please seek guidance from a doctor or other medical professional. If you are experiencing a health emergency or think you might be, call 000 if in Australia, or your local emergency number immediately for emergency assistance, or go to the nearest hospital emergency department. Medical information changes constantly. While we aim to provide current, quality information in our content, we do not provide any guarantees and assume no legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, currency, or completeness of the content. If you choose to rely on any information within our content, you do so solely at your own risk. We are careful with links we provide. However, third-party links from our website are followed at your own risk, and we are not responsible for any information you find there.